More than 2 million years ago, Earth was a world of violent change. The Ice Age was reshaping the planet, with massive polar ice sheets locking away vast amounts of water, causing global sea levels to drop by tens of meters. In small clustered groups, life and death were decided by the ability to read the natural world. This was the first spark of causal thinking. An unusual event could foreshadow danger. But the brain was still young, easily distracted by immediate needs: hunger, cold, and the comfort of routine. The ability to connect subtle signs into a coherent warning picture was not yet a common instinct of the tribe. It existed only as a faint glimmer in a few individuals, a latent evolutionary advantage waiting for nature's test. Life in the Pleistocene was a constant quest for energy. With brains larger than those of their ape ancestors, these beings required enormous amounts of calories. They were omnivorous opportunists, masters of adaptation, feeding on fruits, roots, insects, and scavenged carcasses left by great predators. The coastal zones were nutritional treasure troves. The rich fatty acids in marine life are thought to have been catalysts for brain development. When the sea suddenly receded, revealing a feast on the shore, instinct could not ignore such a signal. To a brain wired for immediate survival, it was not an omen, it was a gift. Gathering and exploiting this sudden bounty was a strategy that had sustained their kind for millions of years. Yet, selective pressure often came from rare events, the traps of nature. The ability to resist immediate temptation, to delay gratification in recognition of a greater, unseen danger, marked a leap in cognition. It demanded abstract thought, imagining an outcome that had not yet occurred, based only on indirect signs. Earth's history is written not only in slow climatic shifts, but in sudden catastrophes. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and colossal tsunamis were nature's brutal engines of selection. Such an event could erase entire populations in minutes, leaving behind a genetic void. What followed was known as a genetic bottleneck. When a large population was decimated, the genetic future of the species depended on a handful of survivors. Diversity shrank dramatically. The traits that allowed those few to survive, whether intelligence, caution, or sheer luck, were amplified in generations to come. The survival of a small group atop the cliffs was not just the triumph of a family. It was the validation of a new behavior, heeding warnings, trusting different judgment, prioritizing long-term safety over immediate gain. Below, in the raging waters, not only tribes, but entire sets of failed survival strategies were wiped away. On the cliffs, a new way, based on foresight and cooperation within small groups, proved its worth. From the ashes of the old world, seeds of a new kind of consciousness were sown. After devastation, the pressures of survival changed. Isolated atop a cliff, facing an unfamiliar and hostile world, the brain was forced to operate at a higher level. Improvisation gave way to deliberate creativity. Building a raft was not merely using an existing tool, it marked the beginning of structured thought. It required a sequence of logical steps, identifying a goal, analyzing available materials, and formulating a multi-step plan to combine them. Cooperation in this task revealed a new complexity in social interaction. They were not just working beside each other, they were working with each other.
After weeks adrift on the murky waters, the family reached the high ground, bathed in a golden light signaling a new beginning.
This coordination required effective communication, even if only through eyes and gestures. Each individual understood their role in a larger plan. Their silence was not the absence of language, but the presence of deep understanding, a primitive form of theory of mind, the ability to infer the intentions and thoughts of others. Losing the fire in the storm was a brutal trial. The torrential rain poured all night, and the wind howled through the cracks in the rocks, scattering the ashes and leaving behind only cold and darkness. The entire tribe huddled together, shivering in the cave where warmth had once lived, now only a memory. Without fire, the cold and fear took over. From deep within the forest came distant growls, a reminder that tonight, they were no longer protected. Amid the crashing thunder, a flash of light illuminated the distance. A tree struck by lightning, burning in the rain. In that instant, a male Homo habilis saw it and understood. This was the chance to reclaim the fire. Without hesitation, he bolted from the cave, the rain lashing against his skin. Every step was a battle against the sucking mud and the raging wind. The glow of the burning tree slowly emerged through the grey curtain of rain. The fire saved the tribe from the cold and the beasts. But beyond survival, it ignited a new awareness in their minds. That nature was not only a giver, but also something that could be understood and mastered. From that moment on, fire was no longer a random gift from the heavens. It became a secret to be guarded, preserved, and passed down. The transition from scavenging and small prey to hunting large game was a monumental step, not just nutritionally, but cognitively. A single large animal could feed the entire group for days, freeing them from constant foraging. But such a task was impossible for one individual alone. Their success lay in coordination. This was not a chaotic assault, but a calculated strategy. It required deep understanding of terrain, prey behavior, and, most crucially, each individual's role. Each member had a task. One to throw stones and create distraction. Another to make noise and drive the prey. Another to strike at the decisive moment. This division of labor revealed an emerging social structure built on trust, communication, and patience. After the hunt, sharing the spoils reinforced social bonds. Eating together around the fire was not merely filling stomachs, it was a ritual of unity. This was the foundation of humanity's later dominance. Not because we were the fastest or strongest, but because we were the most capable of complex cooperation. In a world without medicine, even a small wound could mean death. Infection was one of the leading killers. For a small, struggling group, losing a healthy member, especially a hunter, was a devastating blow. Caring for the wounded marked the emergence of compassion and complex reasoning. Rather than abandoning the weak, the group invested time and resources to heal them. This was not only emotional, it was strategic. Preserving each member increased everyone's chance of survival. Searching for a specific plant based on earlier observations of animal behavior reflected advanced cognition. Humanity had begun the long journey from victims of disease to the first healers. Encountering a stranger was perilous. Instinct dictated suspicion and defense. In a world of scarce resources, a stranger could mean competition or threat. Yet what followed revealed a higher instinct: altruism. Sharing the last piece of meat was not an easy choice. Defied immediate survival logic. This may have been the birth of reciprocal altruism, a behavior where one helps another with an unconscious expectation that kindness might someday be returned. The act of a child voluntarily offering their berries was perhaps the purest moment of all. It showed that compassion is not only strategic, it is innate. Empathy, the ability to feel another's suffering, was becoming the glue of human community. The act of painting on a cliff marked the dawn of symbolic thought. A curved line of charcoal was no longer just a black mark. It represented a wave. A few rough strokes became a raft, a flame, a hunted beast. For the first time, the material world connected with memory and idea. This was the birth of visual language, the ancestor of writing. It allowed knowledge and experience to be stored outside the individual brain. The story of disaster, struggle, and survival could now outlive those who lived it, passed on to future generations, becoming heritage and myth, the first legend of the tribe.